Hello, Shalom Ola. Welcome to the Spiritual Life with Mystic Reverend Travis Tidwell. I'm here with my special friend Ashley,
Hey, everybody.
High Priestess in Training. I want to introduce my executive producer, my daughter Athena, also High Priestess in Training with Sacred Dragon. This podcast is powered by the Lord God Yahweh, the Holy and Divine Spirit, and Sacred Dragon, baby. We're a whole new vibration of spirit. Out with the old and in with the new.
Age of Aquarius.
Age of Aquarius. Finally, my God. Well, Piscean age was okay. I mean, a lot came out of it, but it's time to move on. Spiritually, consciously, a lot of the forms of religion are outworn.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot more people are elevating and asking questions. You can tell
know.
people are waking up.
Yeah, what gets me is, you get these guys on TV talking about doing healings, and they're throwing people on the floor and they're walking, and it's like, why aren't you working in the hospitals?
Throwing people on the floor?
People are falling on the floor for these guys.
Oh,
these
yes.
healing ministers. They're like, there's a lot out there you think about what's real, what isn't real.
I think the power of the mind is, it's interesting because what people truly believe in, like, they'll go for it no matter at all costs.
Well, yeah, there's a consciousness out there that attracts a certain consciousness, and I guess when it comes to people who believe in I do believe in the healing of the Holy Spirit. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Reiki master healer myself.
Yeah, absolutely. That's without a doubt.
And I'm not trying to knock anything, but in the same breath, if you have a gift and you're not sharing it, shame on you.
Yeah, I do think people have to align with themselves, and I think too many people deny that they have gifts because they're scared of it. They're scared, kind of like mutants, like X-Men.
Yeah, it could be on some level. Tonight we're talking about toxic people in your lives and what you should be doing to remove them.
That's been a reoccurring theme the past few weeks, I've noticed. And it's happening to a lot of people.
Right. Well, it's been a very interesting time. It's a 5 cycle for the planet, and the 5 cycle is the Hierophant. People are looking at either following the masses and concerned about what other people think.
Yes.
Or they're going to be their own person and be creative and self-creative and, self-employed.
It's the New Age Renaissance. I think I mentioned that before, but it really is. It's not new. It's the old coming back. Now you're seeing people be more, you know what I'm saying, channeling themselves a lot differently.
I've always considered this the New Age of the old ways.
Yes.
You see, that's
Absolutely.
the way I look at this, the New Age of the old ways. I'm not a New Ager. I'm somebody who went back to the center, because Christianity as well as Catholicism, as well as Mormonism, which I was baptized once even with, it wasn't working for me. Because in these religions, it was making me accept people who were toxic in my life, and I knew I wasn't going to get anywhere with that system. And it seemed like there were patterns being repeated in my life, you know what I'm saying?
All the time.
And you're accepting things from people because they were in your religion.
I guess I felt a victim of my circumstances, too. Like, I felt like I just had to surrender, which you do in a way, but it's just, I don't know, it's just different. In religion, it's very structured.
Yeah, honestly, I could tell you some of the horror stories with people where, maybe the girl got raped by her stepdad and they still have to live together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that happens all too often.
And their religion would say forgive and forget. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I might forgive. Check this shit. I'm not going to forget. That's not what life's about. Life's your own separate individual journey. What's everybody's true will is to be happy.
It is.
No,
to love.
And to love.
Honestly.
And everything deserves the right to love, no matter how grotesque it might look to somebody.
It's so true. It's universal.
It's just something that has to be honored, on some level. But, when it comes to toxic love, no. I feel like through Christianity and through the Christ energy, people became addicted to pain, dysfunction. If you love somebody, you're gonna love them unconditionally. We're gonna take care of all their shit, and they're just gonna put all their karma on you. Because now let's get into the real world and talk about karma. You start talking about toxic people, let's talk about karma.
Yes.
You're unhappy. You're in this karmic situation and the Spirit's trying to show you how to learn.
Yeah. And if you don't learn the lesson, it will continue to cycle itself to no fucking end.
You got that right.
And it's the worst because you're your own worst enemy, and I don't think people see that. But they always want to place blame on other people. So sometimes I know people think, oh, I have these toxic people in my life, but they have to look internally and be like, I'm toxic. I have to change because I'm attracting that. And I don't think people want to take that kind of accountability.
Right. No, you're right about that, and it is about accountability. And I don't know. I guess I've been very lucky myself, where if I love you and you're in my life, but you're toxic, I will love you from afar, and I just won't have you in my life because I don't want. I try to have happiness in my life and harmony and peace and love, and I can't have that with toxic people.
Yeah.
I have a sister up north who I love to death, who went through cancer and everything, and they're not. I have 5 sisters up there, man, and none of them are doing that well.
Yes.
And one day I thought, oh man, I could probably get ourselves a mansion out here. We could all live together, pitch in, pay the mortgage. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then I thought to myself, why in the hell would I do that?
Travis, if they ever listen to this,
I'm sorry, but I told her that. He says, like, I was thinking about getting this big badass place and bringing you down and sharing it with you good. But then I thought to myself, why in the hell would I do that with all the drama you guys got?
To be honest, too, one thing I was thinking about that I'm still trying to understand is that people in your life are meant to be. They're meant to come and go. And for a long time, I was holding on to people thinking because that's what you should do out of loyalty.
Exactly.
And then I was just like, no, I'm sorry. I'm going somewhere and you can no longer come with me.
It's called living on, it's called clinging on to outworn morals.
Yes.
You're toxic, but I love you, so I got to put up with you. No, it's not going to happen that way. Mm-hmm. I don't care who you are in my life. Once you start accepting that as the standard, you're going to end up with a very unhappy life. A lot of health problems.
Yes, I honestly, if you're unhealthy within, like, you create your own diseases, and I don't think people really understand the power of their thoughts of like really clearing that karmic energy.
Right, and if you got somebody around you who's toxic, they're negative with you, they're keeping you in a negative mode. They're either arguing
like
or not being comfortable with yourself or your atmosphere. Yeah, would you say hostage?
Yeah, hostage. Yeah, you're like hostage to, what would you call it? What would we name that?
Gosh, extortion of your emotions, maybe? I don't know.
Right.
Here's the deal. I mean, one of the philosophies that I have in Sacred Dragon, and if you're on YouTube, you can see that what's up. You know what I'm saying? But
that looks fresh there.
Yeah, thank you. But for those of you on Spotify, I'm sorry. We talk about this because on one hand, we have to have the Christ, okay, for sure.
Absolutely.
But on the other hand, we have to have Moses. Mm-hmm. And this is where it really comes in for us, the 10 laws. And Moses is the sword. Mm-hmm. So I have the sword in one hand and I have the dove in the other. Now, everybody wants to use the dove all the time. Oh, you're taking my money and stealing from me? Okay, here's the dove. I love you still.
Okay, can you explain what the dove is, actually?
Well, the dove is the Christ. It's the peace and love where you stole from me, I'll turn the cheek, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? I forgive. And it's like, that doesn't work a lot of times. And people take your kindness as a weakness in this world.
Yeah, which is really sad because it makes people so bitter, especially like they originally have a good heart, but the world will break them down and they become so disgruntled.
Yeah, and so in Sacred Dragon we learn that the sword of Moses gives me the strength to cut people off who aren't participating in a positive way in my life.
What do you say, the sword?
The sword of Moses.
Yep.
That's the 10 Commandments. If you know the 10 Commandments, you're going to want to live by them. You want to make people around you, make sure that they have that kind of integrity in themselves.
Yeah.
It's all about integrity, man.
It's true. It is.
If you ain't got integrity, I wouldn't want you around my children. What about you guys out there?
And you don't even have to believe in the same thing, but integrity is just a great quality to have as a human being.
I have friends who aren't spiritual, who have their own religious beliefs, or maybe follow Trump. Excuse me. But,
we're not going there this evening.
But I love them. Yeah, thank you. But we're not. But I love them. And when you love somebody and they're good people, but they don't think the same way, you can't hold that against them as long as they're not out, rioting the Capitol or planting bombs.
Okay, I'm not gonna say that I'm either on board or whatever for any politics, but I will say that watching these people get arrested at the airport has been entertaining.
And it feels like, honestly, and take this personally if you want, if you're out there listening, a lot of those people are toxic. And talk about toxic people.
Like a whole negative spirit.
Because, we all have the right to different opinions, but we don't have the right to promote disinformation and lies about each other.
Racism.
Well, now we're in the 9th commandment. See, the people don't even realize they're in violation of the ninth commandment. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Oh, that happens every day. Like, it's like just...
When you learn the 10 commandments, that's your sword. So toxic people at that point, you become self-aware. Mm-hmm. You say, no, I can't have this person in my life. Or when I do talk to them for just a couple minutes on the phone, top surface, okay, I got to go, bye, click, I'm usually polite and say, well, I got to go right now, bye. I'll just be polite about it until they get tired of calling, and that's what usually happens.
Like, you're just unavailable?
Well, yeah, I mean, I have 5 sisters, like I said, and a brother out there, other family members, and I forgot, sorry, Sister Jackie, that she called me for a reading. I said I wouldn't. So it's hard because I can't get in a habit of doing this all the time for family. Mm-hmm. And
people need to understand that too. It's kind of like, we're not a good luck charm, you know what I mean? Or can you just pull a card? It's like, no, this is a business. Like, you have to make money. I have a life. I have to support myself. My kid.
It's not even that either, too. It's like, I would expect you, because you are my sister, to have some rational mind that you're working with, and and I love them all, but I really feel sometimes it's just they don't make the right choices, and that also can create toxic situations. Then you find out yourself that you might be toxic. I mean, I love my family, but there's been a lot of just when you have people who call you when you talk to them all the time, they're having just a negative experience about life. It's like, wow.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Like, I'm not going to lie. I haven't really had the best relationship my whole life with my sister and my mom. But you know what? There'd be times where I would just take time off, even if it's been like a year, and we come back, and you know what? I'm thankful. I still appreciate them.
Well, sure.
Sure. And I feel like every single time that happens, all of us grow just a little bit more. And that's where you would hope to happen, and I'm happy it happens.
Because also, too, realize at that time, you're detaching so that you can take that space in your brain, your consciousness, your emotional body, you're detached for it, so you can focus on other things and use that space for other things. It's like you're giving all this space in your brain with all these different people in negative situations because they're bothering you.
Yeah, people are in your... I think I read something somewhere that said, don't let negative things take up space for a free rent in your head or something.
Yeah, I promoted that.
Yeah, like, no, it's like, you're not paying rent, get the hell out of my brain.
Yeah, no, exactly. And when you're at home right now, you should be focusing on lots of money and good fortune.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and for those around you as well.
Yeah, but I mean, for you yourself, for your thoughts, you should be focused on yourself, and you should be focused on building your own empire and creating your own life. It's difficult during COVID right now.
You know what?
It's no lie.
I think the hustle came out of a lot of people during this time, though. It really showed the true hustler.
It got me on Zoom. So, for those of you out there, I am available for classes on Wednesdays, and I'm available for privates, too. I got privates going on all the time, so...
And then check out, you can find this on the website. What's it under?
Oh, it's TravisTidwell.us. Thank you for that. You can check out my website. It's not official yet right now. It's like I said, COVID's been here. So I've been doing all my classes for free on Zoom Wednesday night. For those of you out there, you can email me at TravisTidwellPodcast.com. If you're out here on Spotify listening to this podcast right now, when you're done, go to the music section and look at Travis Tidwell, Time Has Come, and listen to that new album I got out there. I'm always excited about promoting myself. I'm my best fan.
I think everybody should be their best fan. That's self-love.
It is. It is. If you don't love yourself and you can't be passionate about yourself and what you're doing, then you're going to be unhappy.
There's a class in the future I think Travis is going to teach that I want everyone to just kind of keep in the back of their mind. How to love yourself in 90 days. How to find
love in 90 days. Mm-hmm. In the process, you're going to find out how to love yourself, because
I love the whole concept. I think everyone should be on board with that.
It's all about, and that's again how you learn right off the gate in a relationship in 90 days. I have this thing where I date somebody for 90 days, and if it's good, then I'll go ahead and get serious, and I'll ask them, hey, 90 days is up. What do you do? How do you feel about me? And she goes, well, I don't know. I like you as a friend, but... it's like, okay. So I know then at that point I'm not going to invest any more emotions into her.
Of course.
And I might be disappointed because maybe I am falling in love with her. Usually somebody that you're having physical intimacy with, you're falling in love with, because it's, it's just one of those things. But it didn't happen. And then, I date another girl, and then 90 days comes up, and she says, I go, hey, how you feeling right now? Because my 90-day period's up, and I just want to know where you're at. I go, I think I'm falling in love with you. And the girl goes, I think I'm falling in love with you. Oh, wow, no shit. And she goes, yeah. I go, wow, this is exciting. So
let me ask you. So let's just say that you maybe on day 20 and then you realize this individual is toxic. How do you get rid of her from your
well,
life?
to be very honest with you, the truth with women sets me free.
You're just like, dude.
And I say that lovingly.
How many hearts have you had to break, Travis?
Any men out there listening, well, it's only because the first few big ones broke my heart, and I had to learn the hard way, honestly. But no, because, in the beginning with my first true love, even, I was in denial. Mm-hmm. And I was lying to myself, I'm lying to her. Because I'm acting like everything's okay when it's not. You know what I'm saying?
The dilemma people don't talk about. The dilemma.
And you get married, and you're before God. I'm pledging my life to you.
Yes.
But in my case, it's always been the woman who's cheated. So I've had to deal with not only with kicking myself in the butt because I knew it was toxic and I didn't do anything about it, but then I suffered through all that toxic stuff, and there was no payoff. There was no turnaround. There was no reward. There was nothing.
Well, that's what but that's a good point though. It's a good point. It's like, okay, when you know that you're in a marriage and you know that individual's toxic and you're elevating, what is the best way with the least resistance to be able to get rid of that negative person?
First thing I would do is I write them a letter.
So before they get pissed off, they can't just bite your head off.
It's really where I write them a letter. And I sit down with a piece of paper and I write down, hey, look, this is why I really don't want you in my life. Because the first time I really got in control, I remember when I first became spiritually conscious, I was hanging out with this astrologer friend of mine that has a beautiful girlfriend, and the relationship went on for a couple of years, but it was really getting toxic, and I was very unhappy. And he was asking me my problem, and I told him, and he goes, well, if you're unhappy, change it. Okay,
it's that easy.
It's that easy. And I thought to myself, well, if I'm unhappy, then change. So I did. And ever since then, I have taken responsibility for my unhappiness. So instead of apologizing with her and trying to be, this compassionate guy with her, I just had to get cold-blooded and say, look, this relationship isn't working for me. I love you as a person, and I love you unconditionally, so I wish you peace and love somewhere else, man. And I'm sure you'll find a better man than me.
And something I just thought of as you were talking is that once you start realizing that an individual is toxic, you start realizing that there's a lot more other toxic people in your life. And then it can get a little lonely sometimes because you're like, man, what did I just do? But let me just tell you firsthand, it's just to make room for the people that are right in your life. You'll start vibrating a lot higher.
And loving yourself is important enough to say, hey, look, you're toxic. I'd rather be alone. I'll buy me a damn Chihuahua. And I'd rather be alone than Chica. Well, I'm lucky. I have beautiful children, and we have a Chico here, and Layla, and Uzi, and Magic.
Yes.
It's a full house. But I think it just depends on the individual too. Sometimes, a lot of people are addicted to drama, and that's what happens. They get addicted. It was almost like when you hear all that. It's like the hatreds that's there. People get addicted to hearing it. Even if they don't like it, they still get addicted to hearing it after a while. And it's just like you got to desensitize from that kind of information. You got to look at yourself, get out of the outside world.
People thrive.
If you're in a bad relationship, and a lot of women tell me, "Oh, I can't leave because I don't have the money. There's no place I can go." And that's why I tell my daughter, first time you depend upon a man, girl. No.
So what can people do in their free time if they have a really deep relationship to a toxic person? How would I distract myself, spiritually, to make me spiritually strong?
Well, if you're spiritual and you're with a toxic person, it's a great karmic lesson for you. And you should be learning how to help that person.
No, I mean, but what can you do to, fill your time? Let's just say you got out of a bad relationship with a really toxic person. Your initial thing is to want to, go back because you're like, oh, let's make up to break up again.
Well, let's talk about lower higher self. The higher self doesn't want anything to do with toxic people, but the lower self does. Look, she's beautiful, Trev. I don't care what she does to you.
Yeah,
you have to have her,
Lust is a strong thing.
It's lower self. It can be... Lower self does all the work it wants to be rewarded. That's what I want.
I feel the best representation. If you guys haven't seen the show American Gods, there's this girl named Bellaquis, and in the beginning, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm not going to get into detail, but I think a lot of women have been there. Yeah, you know what I mean? You start realizing, lust is powerful.
Oh, very, very powerful. And it stirs. See, that's when the root chakra stirs with the heart chakra. And you got both chakras going at the same time. Pow.
Yeah, it's definitely electric.
It's definitely something to talk about. But that should be also happening with you as spirit when you're alone. you should never. You might feel lonely, but you're never alone, and that's what you have to really be conscious of. I mean, honestly, I probably spend more time with myself than I do in relationship lately.
I love spending time with myself. I read, and I just love my alone time.
I love the new Madden 21. It's been
actually, I love the new Valhalla. I didn't move from my couch for like 2 months, you guys.
But back to toxic people in your life. Yeah, I would definitely, maybe talk to your angels, maybe consult with them in prayer. I'd get a piece of paper, write down everything that I feel you're negative and how you're affecting me in my life, and see if it really does outweigh the positive that you're bringing to me.
Yes.
I mean, there's nothing perfect, and there's nobody perfect. And everybody's going to have a negative day with you, or they're going to have a negative event they're going to want to share or something, but we're talking real toxic people.
And I think people whom are toxic need to recognize that they're being toxic for other people's lives. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's like, you're just like, I think there comes a
toxic
point,
bully.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like some people are negative or energy vampires, and they know that they're
psychic parasites.
They know they're taking stuff,
yeah.
But I know that there's a part of them outside of their narcissism where they know something's wrong. They know what they're doing is wrong.
Yeah, that's probably true, but they're probably still identifying it differently.
I'm sure. But how about some of those people that are awakening? How do we help those people? What do you say to them?
Yeah, well, I would say be very careful what you share with them, first of all. That's the other thing. When you're around toxic people, when you figure out that you can't change them or change this energy that's with them, you have to be very guarded on what you tell them.
No, even as a person whom is toxic, trying to relinquish that?
Yeah, a person who's toxic, the first thing you do is find out what drug or alcohol you're drinking. If you're drinking and you're toxic, you're taking any kind of drug except marijuana. If you're smoking pot, you should be a decent human being.
They don't call it spirits for nothing.
There you go.
Right?
The spirit of that is very powerful. So that's what I would suggest. And if there's a lot of different ways why people suffer, it seems like, and I can remember I couldn't be alone. It was like I had to have something going on or, sleep with somebody, when I was younger. But then you learn when you become spiritual, that's not it.
No, it's not.
My first marriage is spirit. And because I have spirit as my first marriage, I feel it's given me the strength to stay away from toxic people.
Yeah, it just naturally happens, though. It's natural.
But you know how many people I've talked to in readings that I've given over the years, and I tell them, this isn't going to work out. And I hate to tell you this, it's not going to work out. And the girl tells me she knows it's not, and she's going through all this living hell, or vice versa, and 10 years later it finally happens.
Yeah.
That's what made me think of the 90-day program. I hear these people, well, we've been dating for 3 years now, and it sucks. It's like, are you joking me? You need to find out. I never told him he never told me he loved me in 2 years. It's like, are you joking me? You've been with this guy for 2 years, and he's never said he loves you.
No comment. I know a few people. I'm not gonna lie.
In fact, that happened to me recently with somebody I was counseling. I thought, oh my God, girl, you've done this for this guy, all this for this guy, intimately and everything. I go, and he's not told you he loves you?
Or women that continue to stay in marriages where their husbands cheat, and they're like, no, I love them. And I'm just like, how broken down are you? Because
you love him more than you love yourself.
Yeah, and that's crazy. That's terrible. Get out of that.
Well, it's going to affect them on a health level. Not only does it affect you psychically, but it's going to affect your health. And
don't worry about the kids. Just go off and God will take care of you.
How many women have girlfriends out there? I mean, I've had people come to me and get readings, and I say, hey, you got this girlfriend, she's negative for you, and blah, blah, blah. And the lady got mad at me, and she didn't talk to me for a long time, but she came back and she goes, yeah, everything you told me later happened.
Oh, it always happens.
So you have to be very, very careful who you trust, especially in today's world. My God, with all the crazies out there, I'm so paranoid.
I'm pretty paranoid. Like just seeing how much chaos and like the mass destruction. It's like, I'm cool staying at home. COVID suits me just fine, actually.
Yeah.
To stay home.
But but these toxic people become toxic bullies.
I think honestly, entities are just sucking onto that, and they're
parasiting on you. Then,
yeah, they're
like you owe me this. You're my friend. It's like you're not. Even if you're my blood, it doesn't matter to me. It does not matter to me. Even if you're my blood, man. If you're toxic, make an appointment. I was doing free healings before COVID one day a month, but you need to stay away. You need to figure yourself.
I've sent, there's been quite a few times I've sat at my altar and just sent healing energy to people, and I just asked my angels to help them. I'm like, please just, just help them get out of this spot. And you know what? Miraculously, maybe it's 2 or 3 weeks later, like their tone is just a little bit different. I can feel like a little bit of a change, and I'm
bet.
like, okay, good. Like, it's working.
Yeah.
So like, and that's, that's always a nice thing to do as well.
Yeah, also if you're married right now and you're listening to this podcast and you're unhappy, get that book, Women Are From Venus and Men Are From Mars.
You really believe in that?
I
they
used to
promoted
use
that
that
in the 90s, right?
Yeah, it's an old ass book, but me and my last wife used to have fun with it.
Are you sure that's not the Kama Sutra?
Yeah, no. She had no problem with that. No, but that was a very good book for us to communicate and look at female, male energies. A man might say something he thinks a pebble, and for the woman, it's just a giant rock. You know what I'm saying?
You know what?
And not
also,
be conscious of it.
You brought up something to me that still sticks with me to this day. A lot of women are like, oh, I would like my husband to lead. I would like him to be a little bit more dominant. But sometimes it's just the woman that has a more masculine energy, and then the male has more of a feminine energy. And sometimes it just has to be that way. It's the yin and the yang. So instead of like dogging out your dude, you know what I mean? Why don't you just be like, this is... let's work on our energy. How does this work for us?
It's almost like...
And that may not be a toxic, that just might be an energy shift.
Well, it is, because I feel at some point she wants this nice guy, but in the same breath she wants this bad boy.
Oh, yeah. Every girl does.
And there's this illusion going on with people at some point, I think, and through media and internet and cell phones, and Pornhub, and other things of that nature. There's a lot of young people who become desensitized about emotions. They can themselves become very toxic. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I'm sure, it's one thing to deny yourself being toxic, but once you do find out you're toxic, you need to help yourself. Now, maybe you need counseling.
You have so much work to do. You have to deal with your past trauma. Like the brain will do everything in its power to protect itself from traumatic experiences where you don't even know that you have blockages, and like that's some deep shit that you have to really work on.
Yeah, there's a good couple of good movies. What the Bleep Do We Know? And How Deep Is the Rabbit Hole? Now, I've never seen How Deep Is the Rabbit Hole, but What the Bleep Do We Know is pretty cool.
Okay, cool. We'll check it out.
It was a little boring, a little bit, people. Don't get me wrong, but the points were very valid. And they have this speaker on there. He's like the master of quantum physics. So the documentary aspect on this was very, very good. Did you see that movie? What the Bleep Do We Know? We're going to have to get you and the girls and watch that. I have 3 teenage girls dominating my life right now.
God is power, though.
Oh, God is big time, yes. Now, and that's one thing I've always been seeking, studying Kabbalah, is the feminine, because I am a pagan at heart, and we find that the word Yahweh also has the word Eve. So that is the goddess principle in that.
Well, even in ancient Egyptian time, which I know a lot of people have a hard time coming to this realization, that a lot of the gods and the deities have stemmed from the original culture in Egypt, and it branched off to the Greeks and whatnot. And for every god, there was a masculine and feminine, and they just, people don't, and it's and I'm not saying anything bad about Christianity whatsoever, and I believe everyone has a right to their own belief system. But they really do, I want to say, disregard women, or they could maybe put them up a little bit more on a pedestal, at least I feel, to kind of give...
Well, that's the bad thing about Christianity. Yeah. The pastor or the priest would tell her to forgive him and go back and work it out. And,
yeah, exactly. Like, we're like a slave,
like, are you joking? There's a pattern here.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
It's
and let me say something, too. There's no failure in anything that you do to cut somebody loose, whether it's your husband, girlfriend, a brother, sister, cousin. If you got to cut them loose, cut them loose.
It's either you work it out or you fucking go. It's plain and simple.
You don't have to hate them. But you can say, hey, look, I love you, but I don't like you.
And that's fine. And you can still love that person, too.
You have to be truthful. Yeah. Now, a lot of people would break a relationship. Oh, I'm getting great sex. Why would I say anything? My God, this is, But no, it has to be. It is, but that will only last so long.
People don't understand that. They want that honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
People are addicted to that honeymoon phase.
I've been married and divorced 3 times and know about that honeymoon.
Maybe 4th dimension is the charm.
Well, I think my number 4 is my magic number. Yahweh, it's 4 letters. They always say third one was the charm, because I got my beautiful daughter, Athena.
Well, it's funny. I've been engaged 3 times, so I got married on the 3rd time.
There you go. Yeah,
for the first time, it was only married
number 3 can be a good number, but also if it's not for you, then the number 4 has got to be it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That is the most powerful number in numerology because of Yahweh. But Yeah, and if you have any questions about anybody who's toxic in your life and you want to know what's going on, give me a email, TravisTidwellPodcast@gmail.com.
And we can also we have a newsletter coming up, and we
Yeah.
can do like an ops ed page. And if you guys have questions, you guys can send anonymous emails or whatever you
Yeah.
guys want. From check us out at the
Yeah,
DM
I'd
on
be
Instagram.
and I'd be more than happy to mention you on a show and answer your question.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm always promoting people. Hey, let's talk about your angel. Hey, all my angels come close to me now. Hey, get this toxic person out of my life. Get this toxic energy controlled. Prayer and meditation is really good to help also.
And that can also be done in the shower, which we've spoken about in a previous
Best time
episode.
To pray. Best time to pray.
It's like a detoxification of the body. The water is very powerful.
It is. You're naked. You don't have any shame. You're with your divine source. And let me tell you something, just like the Fool card says in tarot, a man or woman with no philosophy or religion is truly a fool.
Yep.
So learn the Ten Commandments, grab the sword of Moses, take back the compassion of Christ for a moment. I'm only going to be Christ-like for people who are worthy for me to be Christ-like too. That's why I love my new sacred dragon balance, is that I have Moses in one hand, Jesus in the other. If you come to me proper, I'm going to be Christ-like with you. But if you're not, then I'm going to break out the sword and be Moses.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone needs to come from a place of respect, and whether if you agree or not, I think people should still respect other people.
We can feel sorry for people. Great, that's great. I'm not saying not to, but some of these people have created their own,
karma
big time.
Hell
and there's a lot of tortured souls out there. And my God, it's so sad when you get a family member who's a drug addict who's toxic. Or you have, just a partner, or maybe a friend. Maybe you have a friend you've known for years and you hang out, but there's something really negative about him you don't like, but you don't say anything, and you learn how to live with it.
I feel like you're spontaneously channeling right now. That's actually currently what's happening right now in my life. And you know what? I'm not even worried about it. Like, whatever's going to be in my highest good's going to work out the way it's supposed to.
Yeah. When I became spiritually conscious, I had to let a lot of people go, man. There was just a lot of people who, and my personal circle is very small. It's not big.
Yes.
And I don't need it to be. I'm very content with myself and my family. Thank God. But I counsel people for a living, so I see a lot of different type of personalities. And, I want somebody in my life, but I don't need anybody in my life. There's a big difference from wanting and needing, and not to say needing's bad, don't get me wrong. But, if you want to have balance with yourself, we talk about toxic energy. And if you have somebody in your life right now who's toxic, you have to eliminate it. Now,
let me ask you. So we've been talking about more of like the self and how to get rid of people like on a mental level. But what about something like I can do in my house outside of saging my house? What can you do to make sure people don't send
question.
negative? You know what I mean? Because what can I do to my house?
Good question. Well, you know what? That's a very good question. Well, you could get some black salt and anoint your house for negative people.
Okay, and where can we get that? Where could we get that?
Well, go on the internet. If you can't find it, email me at Travis
Black
Tidwell.
speech. Doesn't it have black sand?
I'm not sure. No,
You
black
might see
salt.
some-
Black salt.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
You see a lot of naked
Black
people?
salt. Yeah, a lot of naked. Yeah, that's going to cleanse my house. Hey, honey. Couple extra bucks. Go to my house and cleanse it. With your naked beauty. Hello, executive producer. How am I doing? Okay. So, no, black salt you can use. I was also thinking, I do have reversible candles. And you can get a reversible candle and actually bless and charge that candle for that specific reason, is to remove somebody.
So we can find this at the website.
Yeah, to block the negative energy. Yeah, you can find that on my website too.
And like for people that just going back to people that only have humble beginnings that are just getting into this, what can they use on a basic level?
On a basic level,
like sage, would that be good enough?
Sage is not going to be good enough, unfortunately. Sage is going to be good. Don't get me wrong. See, the sage is going to help you for when they leave.
To get rid of it.
Yeah, to get rid of it. It's not going to so much prevent it.
So how do I get them to like never walk through my front door of my house again?
Well, boy, that's a good question. For me personally, I do a banishing pentagram on my front door, and I charge this doorway not to allow anybody in my house. Period. Anybody negative has to stay out.
Poof, be gone.
Poof, be gone. You do that enough times, and you create an energy at your doorway, and that vortex for some people becomes a lot more calm.
And I'm sure you're going to do a class on that in the future. Please do.
Yeah,
I think people want to know.
We can talk about that. We've got a lot of stuff to share yet in magic. Hopefully you've seen our recent podcast that we've done together.
I know. I'm so excited. And it's going really well. I'm jamming out. I'm living my life's dream right now.
Yeah, we're having a good time together. I need somebody to bounce stuff off of, and we're just here having a good time sharing. But no, I honor Ashley for being here. She does study with me. Mm-hmm. She's going to be a professional psychic this year. She is a high training, definitely in training right now, and she's doing very well for herself. She's somebody you definitely want to get. Her email is
Ashley Irizarry. Actually, just go to my Instagram, to the Pisces Life Coach, and send me a DM. It's easier.
Yeah, Pisces the life coach. What is it?
Yeah, the Pisces Life Coach.
The Pisces Life Coach. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, definitely DM her if you have any questions. Also. Now, I hope you enjoyed this information. We could talk all night about toxic people.
Oh, yeah. I think we have enough experience with that.
Yeah, and, again, prayer meditation is good. We've talked about certain things. Also, too, she was talking about sage just briefly before we go. If you can get some dragon's blood oil.
I use that daily.
Yeah, and you can put some in a spray bottle with the water and spray your whole house. It clears all negative, stagnant energy.
And put it on your body, too.
Yes.
Okay, so on your wrists.
Well, you sniff it 3 times, and then you put some on your finger, rub it on your wrist, rub your wrist together. Mm-hmm. Now, right now, you can get dragon's blood at the Mystical Dragon.
I love that place.
There. Yeah, it is available there. I don't have it. I will have it available on my website this spring. It will be available. But right now, if you need it right now, this moment, you can go to Mystical Dragon. And she does have dragon's blood there available. So.
I always carry a bottle. There's always one in my house at all times. And when I run out, I buy one immediately.
I have dragon's blood with me 24/7. And you can also get the rock incense and burn on charcoal. Also,
I haven't done that yet. I should.
And frankincense is another good incense to burn for negative, toxic people. You burn frankincense, it's going to kill all negative energy. Now, that's after they leave.
Yeah, like some people.
You need a good cleansing.
Some people are probably like, I don't wish death, but I just wish they'd never come back.
And let me tell you something. Most of these people who are listening to us right now are empaths. Mm-hmm. So when you have somebody come to your house and they're negative, when they leave, you feel traumatized.
Oh yeah, like you get a nasty film on you, like a slug.
And when somebody pauses them because when they have a great time, when they leave, you feel like you had a great time.
Elevated.
So for those of you out there who are feeling that way, these are the things that you have to start using. And dragon blood is going to be very powerful. Eucalyptus oil.
Oh, I have some.
Pan of water. Boil it. 6 or 7 big drops. We do have an episode coming up here and showing you how to cleanse your house with Epsom salt here coming up here. But again, we want to thank you for coming in tonight.
Thank you.
Yes, and don't forget on Spotify, iTunes, however you're listening now to us.
And YouTube.
Yeah, we're on YouTube.
Travis Tidwell.
Travis Tidwell Podcast. Yes, please.
Hit the button and hit the like button.
No, I can only hope and pray that the Divine Spirit will bless all of you this night, your family, your friends, your pets. God bless you all. Many blessings.
Good night.
Good night.
Time has come for a change.